Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Come with us as we recap more foolishness.
You'll want to see Niecy Nash's daughter star as a sister wife? Kloe loves to party. If she's not getting drunk, she's busy getting high. Her mother, Lois, has noticed this behavior and asked Kloe to go to church with her. It's been 2 years since Kloe's father passed away, and since then, Kloe's been acting out. She can't even keep a job. Damn, Kloe really do look like her mama. The church is packed when they arrive. A pastor named Caleb quickly catches Kloe's attention, not only for his sermon on life's purpose, but also for his undeniable good looks. Bitch? Where? After church, Caleb invites Kloe to join the retreat for the youth ministry, and Kloe eagerly says yes. When she arrives at the event, she can't help but keep staring at the Midwest 5 pastor. There she meets a woman named Anna, who, to her surprise, turns out to be Caleb's wife. Caleb offers Kloe a job at his other organization. Soon after, Kloe heads there and meets the very pregnant woman she saw at church before. Her name is Margot. She's nice and overly friendly. Now that Kloe has found a job, her mother is very happy. Lois even gives Kloe a bracelet to celebrate her small wins. She is so enamored with this 40-year-old looking man for some reason, while Kloe is drop-dead gorgeous. Because her time is occupied with fundraising for charity, Kloe has stopped vaping. Honestly, that vape is probably better than what she's about to get into. While shopping, Kloe tells her best friend Alexis that the hot pastor she has a crush on is already married. Her gay bestie Dalton gives her the bombastic side-eye. However, Kloe assures them that it's just a crush and nothing more. One day, Caleb asks Kloe to see him in his office after work. Kloe does, and Caleb quickly makes his move. Despite knowing he's married, Kloe gladly gives in. However, Kloe eventually notices that Caleb gives special attention to newcomers. 1 month after they did the deed, Caleb starts to give Kloe the cold shoulder. She confronts him during a service while other churchgoers are just at the other side of the door. Kloe assumes that Caleb is treating her like a dirty secret, so he finally reveals that his wife knows about their affair. He explains that God has given him the duty to spread his love, and every one of them has a role to fill. Spreading and filling is crazy. So despite having a lot of church attendees to tend to, Pastor Caleb chooses to tend to his new girl. Caleb's organization, Sacred Hands, will hold its first ever retreat. He wants Kloe to handle the registration, but Kloe says she needs to attend her best friend's engagement party. Caleb then asks her to weigh her commitment to him, to God, and to her best friend. So Kloe tells Alexis she can't make it to the party. Leaving your bestie for a married white man is crazy. Instead, she joins the retreat. She sees that Margot has already given birth to a baby girl named Maisie. While there, Kloe sees how sweet Anna and Caleb are. So Caleb reassures her by saying, what they have is something special. During an open forum, Kloe shares how she turned to drugs when she lost her father to cancer. She used to be devastated, but now things are getting better. Later that night, Caleb visits Kloe's room just to say he's so proud of her. But Kloe's happiness is short-lived because she catches Caleb and Margot playing Twister. When she finally confronts the pastor, Caleb calmly reveals that Margot is also his wife and Maisie is their daughter. When Kloe reminds him that it's illegal, Caleb insists that even other Bible figures practice polygamy. Kloe can't believe Anna has agreed to such a setup, but Anna smiles and says she's committed to serving both her husband and her God. This some Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell shit. Despite having this huge problem, Kloe can't confide in her mother. She finds herself returning to the church. Caleb convinces her that God is only testing her. Then he finally proposes. He explains that God has a plan for them to rescue the world and that Kloe will have a huge role to play by being his wife. So Kloe says yes. Absolutely hell no. She soon visits Caleb's home. Anna is authoritative but nice, while Margot is always overly friendly. They are so happy to have Kloe as their new sister wife that the wedding soon follows after. Anna officiates the ceremony with only the 4 of them as attendees. Now that she's married in secret, Kloe lies to her mother and says she'll be living with Caleb and Anna because she'll be working for them. On her first day in her new house, Margot shows her around and explains all the chores they have to do. Kloe has her own room, but no one is ever allowed in Caleb's room. On top of that, they have to wear dresses when Caleb is at home, as he wants them looking modest. When Kloe welcomes Caleb home, he pushes her away, saying he can't show any favoritism as it's unfair to the other wives. On her first night, Caleb visits her, but he's a tease. He stands up and visits Margot in the other room. Though there are downsides, sometimes Kloe enjoys her time in the house. Unfortunately, she still has a hard time setting the table right. Anna always calls her out, and one night, Kloe gets so annoyed she just leaves the house. It's already dinner time when she returns. Because she left without finishing her chores, Caleb doesn't let her have dinner. Instead, he orders her to pray in her room. Anna even locks her in. Girl, if this isn't your sign to run, I don't know what will wake up your thick skull. There's a small hole on the wall between Margot and Chloe's room. This is where Margot passes the sandwich that she sneaked in for Kloe. When they go to church, they take off their rings to hide the truth. Because Kloe still doesn't want to talk, Lois decides to approach Caleb. But Caleb defends Kloe, saying she must have a good reason to stay away from her mother. Soon after, Margot celebrates her birthday. Kloe gives her the bracelet she got from her mom as a gift. It turns out that Margot's mom knows about the marriage, but they haven't talked for a long time, and the old woman hasn't even met her granddaughter. Margot says Caleb never allows it, so Kloe tells her to have the courage to ask again. So at dinner, Margot asks Caleb to let her see her mother, but Caleb's answer is firm. It's a no. Kloe gets annoyed, so she snaps and takes Margot's side. That's when Caleb grabs her arm before sending her to her room. But the confrontation is not over. Kloe continues to fight back, so Caleb keeps hitting her until she no longer has the strength to fight. Margot sees everything, but she can't do anything for her friend. Later that night, Margot checks on Kloe. It turns out that Caleb had beaten up Margot before, but she refuses to leave because she made a vow to serve him. She also doesn't have anywhere to go. However, she makes Kloe promise to get Maisie out of the house if something bad were to happen to her. The next day, Kloe asks Alexis to meet her because she's in trouble. When Alexis agrees, Kloe lies to Anna and says she needs to see a doctor because she missed her period. Anna is overjoyed, thinking that Chloe's pregnant. Alexis discovers the bruises on Chloe's arm. Kloe reveals that she's married to Pastor Caleb, although she's not the only wife. Alexis encourages her not to return to the house. But when Caleb calls, Kloe panics and immediately says goodbye to her friends and says she can't just leave Margot. Wanting to help, Alexis tells Lois what's happening to her daughter. Lois blames herself, as she was the one who made Kloe go to church. She had a gut feeling when she smelled Pastor Caleb's incest seeping out of his skin. So she decides to take the matter to the church's head, Pastor Kendrick. Pastor Kendrick finally confronts Caleb, stating that their church doesn't condone polygamy. On top of that, there are rumors that Caleb is beating up his wives. But Caleb denies all allegations and says he is the head of his own home and doesn't have to answer to the pastor. So Pastor Kendrick officially kicks him out of the church. When Kloe returns home, she finds Caleb blinded with rage. He has lost his job and has a family to feed. All wives deny talking to Pastor Kendrick, so Caleb doesn't know who to blame. He even hits Anna when she tries to calm him down. Anna suspects that it was Kloe, but Kloe insists it wasn't her. Then she adds that she's not carrying a child. One day, Margot overhears Caleb talking to Maisie about how she will have a husband soon, and together with her sister wives, she will be serving her husband. Margot is terrified. She confides in Kloe and plans to leave soon. But later that night, Caleb catches them in the act before they can escape. Kloe can't do anything for her friend, even when she hears Caleb beating her up so badly. The next day, Caleb announces Margot is unhappy, so he's going to take her on a vacation. In the meantime, Kloe will look after Maisie. However, Caleb returns home alone. He says that Margot has run away, but Kloe knows that Margot would never leave without her daughter. So she tries contacting her, but Margot never replies. Anna comforts Kloe by saying all they can do is pray for Margot. A few days later, Margot finally sends messages to her sister wives, saying that she just needs some time alone. Kloe is relieved to know that Margot is safe. One afternoon, Kloe decides to video call Margot so she can see her daughter. To her surprise, she hears a phone ring just above her. She follows the sound to Caleb's room and finds Margot's phone in his drawer. But Anna catches her in the act. Kloe shows her the phone and insists they have to contact the authorities. Caleb's been pretending to be Margot, and Kloe is worried something bad must have happened to her. Just then, Caleb arrives. Anna orders Kloe to return the phone and promises they'll contact the police later. Caleb is happy, as he's found a new job at a different church. But Kloe is so bothered that she can't even fake being happy for him. The next day, Anna tells Kloe they have to pick up a big donation, and they will head to the police station afterward. A babysitter will look after Maisie. However, Anna takes Kloe to where Caleb is. It turns out that Anna told on her. That's why you could never trust a woman with that haircut. Caleb insists that he doesn't know where Margot is. He reveals that Margot used to be an addict, but his organization helped her get clean. She was offered a job, and soon after, she married Caleb. When Margot disappeared, he looked for her, but never found her. He says he's been pretending to be Margot to protect her reputation, so people won't gossip. Kloe pretends to be okay with the story. However, she finds the bracelet she gave to Margot outside the house, and not far from that is a fresh mound of dirt. When she tells Anna about it, Anna reveals that Margot was already dead when she arrived. Margot had stab wounds all over her body. Caleb asked Anna to help her bury Margot, and she did. Anna begs Kloe to keep the secret because they all made a vow. But Kloe is not going to wait to be the next victim. She runs and hides in the nearest shed, but Caleb finds her. She calls the police, and they are able to get her location before Caleb can force the door open. Caleb defends his actions, saying that Margot was going to ruin their family, but Kloe is not having it. She tells Caleb that God is watching him. That's when Caleb snaps and starts to strangle her. Just when Kloe thinks it's the end, Anna saves her. She assures Anna that she'll take her side and will tell the police she's not involved in the murder. That night, Caleb is finally arrested. After some time, Kloe goes back home to her mom. To fulfill her promise to Margot, Kloe takes Maisie to her grandmother, where she knows she'll be safe and loved. I don't care if Anna saved me. I would have ratted that hoe out. What did y'all think of this one? Crazy wild.
If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because YouTube isn't recommending my videos. And if you would like to watch more foolishness, you can click here or here.